Just waiting for the red light. In the world of professional wrestling, there are plenty of titles. Some are considered secondary belts, some are considered the other belts. And sometimes looks can be deceiving. All topics that's been covered on championship culture. But guess what? For season 2, we're going to talk about the right belt in the wrong era. Let's get to it. Welcome to season 2 of Championship Culture. And if I couldn't have said it better myself, Brother Dennis King said it. Every belt has a story. And I'm Brandon the Guy. So, before we get into today's content, because today is a pretty loaded show, which season 2 has been lately. But let me tell you this. Did you know that you can watch all of the Wrestling Realm content anytime just by going to youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm? This includes all 25 episodes from season 1. And if you want to catch up on season 2, just go over to the playlist Championship Culture. And there's even a bonus episode in there around Christmas time. You'll see it with some unboxing Christmas joy. But guess what? You can follow us on all social media platforms, which include Instagram, Threads, X, and Facebook by using @The Wrestling Realm or Championship Culture _ on Instagram. Once again, that's Championship Culture _ or @Wrestling Realm. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and engage in the conversation, because when I tell you we talk about wrestling, we talk about wrestling, and we engage with you. We will put your comments on the screen. We're going to have a good conversation. And if that's not enough, you can download all of our audio content anytime just by going to Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts. Now, guess what? Baseball season is well underway. Some people like going to concerts. Some people like going to other sporting events. But guess what? Let the brothers at the Wrestling Realm save you a couple dollars. If you head over to SeatGeek.com, we can save you $20 on any purchase of $50 or more just by using the promo code Wrestling Realm. Once again, don't go to Ticketmaster. Don't go to these other apps. Download SeatGeek and use the promo code Wrestling Realm and let the brothers at the Wrestling Realm save you $20 on any purchase of $50 or more. So, with that being said, just like the prototype says, what's going on, Justin? It must be Tuesday. You know what that means. So, as you can tell from today's topic, it's right belt, wrong time, right belt, wrong era. But let's just say the right belt at the wrong time. And we have a special guest today. Now, in order to do this guy justice, he was on Big Gold versus the World. Gave him a small intro, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you his bio so you know exactly who's coming on Championship Culture today. Mike from Mouthing Off with Mike, journey starting a world of wrestling. It began in his living room, surrounded by the warmth of his family, gathered by the TV. With his Italian grandmother and cousins by his side, he was introduced to the electrifying world of professional wrestling, something that would captivate him in his life. But it was the bond with him and his dad it created from old VHS tapes, the legends like Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Buddy Rogers, and Bruno Sammartino. They were truly ignited his passion. A year ago, Mike noticed that a consistent negativity surrounding wrestling in the podcasting world. So Mike decided to change the conversation. Mouthing Off with Mike was born a podcast not just about wrestling, but about celebrating its history, embracing the present, and envisioning the future. His infectious enthusiasm and his fun East Coast accent Mike innovates listeners to join in on his journey throughout the highs and lows of professional wrestling. From recapping classic moments to exploring current storylines, Mouthing Off with Mike is more than just a podcast. It's a celebration of lifelong passion, a testament to the enduring power of wrestlers, and remembering that in the world filled with negativity, there's always room for joy. Connecting and thrilling, connecting in the thrill of professional wrestling for all to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me officially welcome to his solo episode of Championship Culture, Mr. Mike from Mouthing Off of Mike. Hello, brother. How are you, sir?
What's going on, Brandon? I'm doing well. That was beautiful, man.
I was trying to hold it together. I said, let me see if I can do this justice.
That was beautiful.
So I'm gonna keep it short now. We read all that, right? It sounds like you had a typical upbringing, but with a special connection to wrestling. Tell the people a little bit more about yourself.
Nah, man. So as the bio said, it really all started for me in my grandmother's living room, surrounded by my cousins. My mom and dad, they worked in the city. I grew up in New York a little bit, and they grew up in the city. So grandma was the designated babysitter for a bit. And I don't know, man, something about Italian grandmothers, they loved pro wrestling. And it was always on in the household. Me and my cousins would watch it. My cousin would probably hit me with a few moves here and there. He probably wasn't supposed to. But it was really my dad's best friend that used to burn off the matches on VHSs. We'll get into the details there. And my dad would watch the VHSs, and I was, just be sitting there watching, and it's something that I grew up with. It was around. It was always there. I could bond with my dad with it, and here it is now. All these years later, I'm 27 years old. I got my own podcast, and I get to come on amazing podcasters like yours to talk about wrestling.
Well, it's great because it seems like a lot of people's grandmothers, uncles help usher in their passion for it. And we kind of live through those moments would make it special because when we watch those classic matches or when we watch certain matches, it always takes us back to that feeling. And sometimes it even takes us back to that moment that we're like, man, this is something that I'm never going to forget. Where I was, WWE had a whole campaign. I was there. And it seems like throughout history, we were there. Now, I'm going to tell the people something to be prepared for. Okay. When Mike gets going, you can tell he's Italian because his accent comes out like his buttons on his shirt, it seems like. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you tonight, you are in for a treat. I want to say, hello, Keith. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you could join us again. Get ready with your comments. Brother Dennis said hello to you as well. Oh, they already said hi to each other. I ain't even got to put that on the screen. They're best friends now. And, of course, we saw that Justin lets us remember that today is Tuesday. And it seems like when it comes to Tuesdays, every belt has a story, right? But
story.
I'm gonna just let that sit there. So with that being said, Mike, anything you need to tell the people before we get into this topic of right belt, wrong time? Because when we were on Big Gold versus the World, between you and Marcus from four sides of the ring, my mouth kept dropping. I said, Brandon, fix your face. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. Because you guys threw out some nuggets. Y'all threw out some punchlines. And Marcus, I know you're going to watch this. You're not off the hook yet, too. You're getting your own solo episode soon, too. He was going to book you on the show, and you will be here because y'all don't get away with that. Let me throw this I think championship culture not going to follow up with it. So, hence why we're here tonight. What you got to tell the people? Because I got some doozies for you tonight, sir.
Oh, he's got some doozies for me tonight. I mean, look, if we're talking, right belt, wrong time, I feel like in history there was a lot of those, I feel like what we're going to talk about today and what championships you've got on the docket, I think a lot of those kind of fall in line. I think for me, the 24/7 championship was a title that I felt came in at the wrong time, but I think it was a fun belt and a fun concept. Had they been able to maybe capitalize on what we've been seeing now on social media with the 24/7 championship. So I say if I'm going to start off hot, I'm going to let you know that I always like the 24/7 championship.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to just say this. To each his own when it comes to championship belts, because In every wrestling promotion, they always debut belts, right? And sometimes they debut them outside of the standard, like you said, the 24/7. They out usually most promotions, whether it's any promotion, major promotion, we get a world champion, tag team champion, women's champion, right? Those are arguably the three basics. But then we usually get like a second tier of some sort or like a gimmick type. Like there's been ultraviolet champions, Iron Man champions, national champions, television champions. Always been something different, right? And it seemed like the gimmick matches have kind of became not necessarily a title, but a crown. Like I'm the best of the best. This is a hardcore street fight. This is a Nigerian drum fight. It's always some type of gimmick, right? And there are times when the belt goes away. Sometimes they come back. We've seen that numerous times. Hint, hint. We're going to get to that soon. Even when WWE has retired belts and they brought them back. Now, it's crazy because the first thing, I think it doesn't get enough love because of its short time, and it had an identity crisis too, was the Cruiserweight Classic, right?
Mm.
When it was originally announced, it didn't have a title attached to it. We found out at the very end there was a title, right? They didn't know they were getting the belt. Was this the right era to bring this belt back during the Cruiserweight Classic?
This is tough, and I'm a big fan of the Cruiserweight Classic. I thought at the time this was great. We had so many names pop up that you had seen on the independent scene, that you've seen pop up all across the globe, that were going to be announced for this tournament. Zack Sabre Jr., Kota Ibushi, TJP. We had so many names that popped up, and they're fighting for this Cruiserweight Classic. And then at the end, we get this purple and silver championship, which from a design standpoint, I thought was pretty
You
slick.
mean this purple and silver?
There it is. And I think from a design standpoint, that's a pretty slick championship. Hear me out, guys. Like, that's pretty slick. But at the same time, we're in an era at that time where a lot of changes were happening in WWE. And we saw a lot of chaos. And we know the rumors and we know the reports, at that time that Vince McMahon was booking WWE very heavily, and Triple H had his hands on NXT and was doing the side, kind of the side shows and the side quests. This was the wrong time for the cruiserweights. Now, can you guys imagine a cruiserweight division under the tutelage of Triple H full time right now?
Well, there you go with this. See, you already started. We're going to break down two of those comments, right? First, 32 wrestlers. It was almost a who's who. You mentioned some names, right? Let's start with Zack Sabre Jr., right? Probably arguably one of the biggest standouts within indie wrestling at the time, right? Always, will he go to WWE? Will he go to ROH? Oh, he had a couple of appearances there. New Japan, any British professional wrestler, he was there. You name it, you couldn't have an independent show without a name on it without Zack Sabre Jr. At this time, would this belt have been fitting for Zack Sabre Jr.?
Oh yeah, absolutely. To be honest, during the tournament, I thought he was my favorite to win the whole thing. I really thought that was going to be the way that we ended up getting Zack Sabre Jr. in WWE, was he was going to win this whole damn thing. To be honest, I was shocked at who won the tournament when TJP won it. I was flabbergasted, to be honest.
Do you think this belt fit TJP more than it would have fit a bigger star like a Zack Sabre Jr.? Because let's call it what it is. TJP was still trying to break out of his TNA. I'm back on the indies. Let me show people who TJ Perkins is, right? Look how he's wearing it. This belt seemed like it just fit for him. You can tell it's a champion of some sort, but it's not a champion I'm going to be like, I want to go after more information, but I'm still curious to see what this guy can do. Does this have that appeal of a world champion?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it has the appeal of a world champion. Unfortunately, I think to be honest, what ended up happening was there was no set plan for the cruiserweights after this tournament was ending. If you would have followed up, and instead of having what was it, like the last half of Raw be the cruiserweight show with the lights and then they started doing, they had 205 Live, which was taped after a SmackDown typically, which was people not staying for the show. I don't think it feels like a world champion, when you look at it, but at the same time, I think TJP was an okay champion as the first champion. I don't think he did anything great with that belt.
Well, let's think about this. It wasn't NXT, but it was a way for them to showcase certain people because, like, we saw returns that we didn't think would happen. The Brian Kendricks, Tajiri, arguably, a legend within not only cruiserweights, just a legend within the business. When you think about a cruiserweight champion, you couldn't have that conversation without Tajiri in WWE.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is, you get what I'm saying? And then you had debuts in the WWE where you had international stars like Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado. These luchadors making a name for themselves. Had this belt been displayed that this is what they're fighting for, could you imagine a Lindsay Dorado or Grand Metalik with this faster than you could a TJ Perkins?
That's a good question there. I think if coming into the whole thing and if it was said like, look, this Cruiserweight Classic is the starting point for us to create a division and create a show, and that's what this tournament is going to be deciding, who's the best cruiserweight, and they're going to be crowned cruiserweight champion for WWE. Yeah, I could see a guy like Lindsay Dorado, I could see a guy like Grand Metalik, but at that, it was tough because when you look at that tournament, you had names that people recognized from outside of WWE. You had, some names that were kind of in WWE still, but you didn't have massive star power to put that belt on, which confused me ultimately when TJP won it, because to be honest, familiarity wise, I knew of him from TNA, but I wasn't, I wasn't like, oh, I'm enthralled. Like he won. I think this could have better fit a guy like Zack Sabre Jr. because people knew him. If you're a WWE fan, you know who he is. Even if you don't watch the indies, you knew who he was. So I think that's who should have won it. But at the end of the day, whoever won it was going to be the one that signed the contracts with WWE.
Well, think about this. TJP was surrounded with the whole manic suicide. Mask got revealed to be him. Former TNA guy, right? But then you had those ROH stars like Cedric Alexander. Well, I'm sorry, indie star / ROH star Cedric Alexander, Tommaso Ciampa, who we had seen turn up on the indies,
Gargano.
Right? Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, right? But then you had Mustafa Ali, and one of the standout stars from that tournament was a 22-year-old Noam Dar, and they made it clear this man, Noam Dar, at the time, 22 years old, breaking into the business, clearly has a bright future, having good matches. I know that graphic. It's fitting of him, right?
It is.
It's right. And that reminds you of, that says Noam Dar like none other, right?
100%.
And we had other indie stars too, because look what Noam Dar has done in WWE since this inception of the Cruiserweight Classic. He went on to NXT UK, came back to NXT, part of a huge faction in the current NXT Black, Gold, and White version. But you talk about the megastar of like Zack Sabre Jr., how about Kota Ibushi? People seem to forget he was somebody that was supposed to have been pegged to win this, but wouldn't sign the contract. Would this title have been a little different if Kota Ibushi had wanted and been the inaugural, the rebranding of the Cruiserweights and gave it to him?
I think so. Yeah. Why not? Kota Ibushi is another guy that I could argue well known as a WWE fan. If you're a casual WWE fan, maybe not, but if you're a WWE fan, you know who the guy is. You've heard of him. You've seen him popped up in AEW recently. So like American fans should know who he is. Those were my two picks to win it. If I go back to 2016, and you talked to me then, I would have told you my favorites: Kota Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr. throw that out. Zack Sabre Jr. were my two favorites going into this tournament, which, like you said, they didn't want to deal. They didn't want to come to WWE. And honestly, probably for the best if you look at the landscape of what ended up happening with this title.
And don't get me wrong, my first pick was Zack Sabre Jr. to win. But then, as a take your wrestling hat off and just watch it from a business standpoint, I thought Cedric Alexander would have won because he had the biggest story. He cut weight. He fought to get there. They were investing in him, and it was all about a story of some sort. This is when we got to see some of the Triple H dust start. And then fast forward, him and Mustafa Ali had probably one of the biggest rivalries for this title when it was the heart and soul of NXT. But back to this tournament, there are some people that we got to see them for the first time. Fabian Eichner. Remember? That was the first time the WWE had been introduced to him. And if it wasn't for this tournament, or let me ask you this, did we need this tournament to have this belt? Or could we have just had the belt and then here are the people that's competing for it?
No, you needed this tournament. I think this tournament really helped WWE at the time because they were in a spot, I feel, where even myself, like I was kind of pulling back from it. And then when they unveiled this tournament, I was like, oh, okay, there's some international stars now. There's some guys that I personally would like to see in WWE because at that time, WWE really wasn't mentioning any other company at all, as we know. You'd be lucky to hear, oh, they held the title in Japan. You'd be lucky to even hear that, let alone hear now you got Michael Cole mentioning Evil and Bullet Club and the IWGP Championship on commentary very casually. 2016,
Stardom.
That's not happening. Yes, Stardom.
He said Stardom. I said, oh, we went there.
When he said Evil last week, I was like, Evil? He mentioned Evil? What?
Of all people,
okay. But like, okay.
Now, the prototype, did you see this comment? He said the 2016 Cruiserweight title / division would have thrived in the current WWE environment. Once Vince got his hands off of it, and after the tournament,
he's spitting. He's
saying walking on thin ice. Oh, I think that this would have been, we have NXT and then NXT Level Up. I think 205 would have been the fourth show, and it would have had women and men. And that's probably where we would have had the North American Women's Champion on 205 Live to give it a additional something. And I think it would have been probably because I loved it when they were on the network. I loved the network specials like the women's tournament, the Mae Young Classic. Why did I just draw a blank? Yeah, I just drew a whole blank. But I loved every part about it, and it was because it gave you such a good story, and it actually has been very instrumental in certain things because, look, yet again, he has another gem for us. Michael Cole has been in his bag with the references since Vince been gone. When he said he doesn't work anymore, we can say that or something like that. Remember that one? He said, I can say that now, or it's a different one. I was like, oh, he's having. First off, I had to give Michael Cole his due. I thought he was horrible, but when somebody's screaming in your ear, now you're just allowing this man to just call the matches. It's actually very. I feel like I look forward to his commentary. And one thing I will say, when he would announce how Roman Reigns was coming down, he would say, ladies and gentlemen, for such and such amount of days, he has been now. Like, it's just how he told that story. I'm like, between Samantha Irvin announcing and his commentary, I'm like, WWE has found what they have literally found what they need.
100%.
And Dennis said it best. Cole has definitely been. Has he always been good, or was he just? We didn't see it because he was forced to say certain things.
Cole's been solid. I was thinking about this the other week, and I actually went back and was watching some old, WWE, mid 2000s. It was like the old draft stuff. That episode when they drafted JR and Cole on commentary.
Separately.
Yeah, and and JR was super pissed about it. I went back and watched that episode. Cole was a good commentator, but you 100% tell that he was walking on eggshells with everything he said, and no doubt in my mind, Vince is was in there. You
better say this, say that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and it's crazy because now that we have a the Triple H does and the Shawn Michaels sauce, I think that's what I said, it's actually working. But in the WWE past, I swear they've done this. You might laugh when I say this because they usually let other companies do things, figure out what's good, bad, what doesn't work, what works. And I feel like the WWE Speed Belt is the Digital Media Championship. They let TNA have their experiment with the digital media. Personally, I think it's a failed experiment. From a belt
Really?
standpoint, I think it's a great looking belt. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that it's I think it came at the wrong era. Because when you think about it, let's sit on the speed belt for a second, right?
Okay.
So we know the Speed Championship was just announced the week of WrestleMania, right? When I tell you, I was so nervous. I kept saying, "Where's the belt? Where's the belt? Where's the belt? Where's the belt? Give me the belt! Give me the belt! Give me the belt!" Right? You don't announce the belt and then just have the little black thing over it. And I was like, "What is this belt going to look like?" Because as we could tell from the Triple H era, belts are getting better. Lo and behold, Ricochet becomes the first champion, right? And we get this belt, right? When I first saw it, and I'm gonna let you talk about my first thoughts, and I held off on going live or anything because I said, "Oh, it's a dashboard. It looks like a car dashboard." And I'm like, I'm like, where's the gas light and where's the oil? Like, I'm like, this daggone thing looks like a dashboard. Like the check engine light will be on the left hand side, your gas light will be on the right. I'm like, this is, yep. Mike, what say you about this belt? Because we're going to talk about the similarities in this and the Digital Media Championship. What say you? He is cracking up.
He broke me, guys. He broke me when he said it's the car dashboard because it really is, man. It looks like I'm staring at the steering wheel.
Oh,
and
Keith called it the Fast and Furious Championship.
Oh,
no. That sounds like something he would say. Dude, this man called it the Fast and Furious Championship. Okay.
The Lightning McQueen Championship. Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. The prototype, the Lightning McQueen. These are going to, I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, these will be Dwayne's notes for tomorrow. These will be his notes for tomorrow. You guys called that the Fast and Furious Championship and the Lightning McQueen. How many speed puns can we have with that? Like, it's a full throttle championship? I don't know. Whiskey, let me shut up. Okay. Mike, what say you about this title? When you look at this, what do you think?
Man, I think that there might be some sort of meltdown at the nuclear reactor plant with that whole dial thing going on. Now what happens when the champion gets tired? Does the arrow go down to the orange and the red? You know, when he's out of juice, does he go? He loses his juice. He goes down into the red.
And ladies and gentlemen, he has hit the building. The realness says you know it. So these will be his notes about the Speed Championship. Is it a good time? Is it a bad time? What say you? Uh-oh. I think we lost you, Mike. Uh-oh. It sounds like Mike might be having a little technical difficulties with his microphone. Yeah, it says he's muted. I think he's trying to. So what we're talking about here is WWE sometimes will allow other companies to do certain things. In 2021, during the COVID era, of course, we were introduced to, where is it? It's on this shoulder. Sorry, guys. The Digital Media Championship. We've talked about this other belt in season 1. You know, now they revamped it a little bit, gave it a different version because now it was not the Impact Digital Media Championship. It's the TNA Digital Media Championship. But WWE has introduced their speed belt. So, Mike, what's your take on the speed belt?
So I like the speed belt. I'm not a big massive fan of the speed belt itself. I like the concept. I like that we're getting people to watch 3 minutes of wrestling on social media, giving some talent some extra time here. I don't know if this is going to be something that's going to keep popping off for the foreseeable future because it doesn't seem like people are watching it on social media because I know I didn't watch it this week. So if I'm a bad wrestling podcaster, you know, just let me be. I kind of want to branch off here on a random tangent and kind of keep you on your toes here. So we're talking about digital media championship. We're talking about TNA. We're talking about WWE Speed and the Speed Championship. Now, do you guys, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but do you guys remember Zack Ryder when he started the Internet Championship and he had the belt and WWE was like, don't you dare do this. Don't ever do this. Don't ever, what are you doing? Like, this is a terrible decision. That right there. If it wasn't for Zack Ryder, I'm going to give this man his flowers. Zack Ryder's dead, but Matt Cardona, if it wasn't for Matt Cardona taking a gamble, taking a chance on himself, starting that whole Internet Championship thing, I don't think you ever get a digital media championship. I don't think you have a WWE Speed Championship. And to be honest, I'd love to see Matt Cardona bring that back.
So it's crazy that you would say that because he has an upgraded version of that belt, and he was well ahead of his time when it came to that because it had Facebook, Twitter, Tout, YouTube all on his side plates, I believe. And when, like, the thing I think WWE is doing right with versus this was the right belt, wrong time, was I shouldn't see this belt on TV. I should have to go on a social media, or it should only be broadcast on YouTube. But WWE is forcing me to go to X to watch, because when it said 3 minutes, I said, how am I going to watch a match in 3 minutes? And I was like, oh, this actually is enough time. Now, have they been 5-star matches? No, but they've definitely been entertaining. Yeah. And as long as I'm holding my phone, they're entertaining. And when you look at what Keith said, if you ever wonder what happened to the kid who got faster when they got new shoes elementary, that's him now optimal speed. I guess that's him. But then Dennis says, okay. What? So apparently it's the drip, but it says gone in 60 seconds belt. So we're not gonna have a whole show on just puns of that. I didn't realize that.
So whenever anybody in NASCAR wins a cup tournament, are they going to give the Speed Championship to them? The NASCAR guys, like
that actually would make sense.
Hear me out.
You might be onto something.
WWE.
Don't say that. Nick Khan might already been reproduced them and say, "Yep, there you go."
Yeah,
I hope you heard that. He gonna clip that off of social media.
Kyle Busch gonna cook and win the Arizona 500 and get himself a Speed Championship.
He said, "Me personally, I will replace the Piston Cup with either a revamped CW title, cruiserweight order." Yes, he called it the Piston Cup. Okay, so I'm gonna say this about this belt, and then we're gonna get on to it's two things I really want to talk about. Right belt, wrong time, right belt. However you want to say it, right? I want to say a couple things about this belt. I believe that the speed belt will be more important and it will be around longer because of the simple fact it's on a social media platform. It's not going to be on TV. I was talking to you earlier, and at first I was a little upset that they didn't have Ricochet come out with the belt, but I said, you know what? You don't want your champion to get pinned. You want me to go watch that champion there. So I was okay with it because Jordan Grace being the first digital media champion, how many people really remember, or did that really add to her legacy? Because she's been such a dominant force in the knockouts division. That's what we think about. When Zack Ryder won this, it was too late. When Brian Myers won it, we're like, okay, what we do? Right
Tommy
now,
Dreamer holding that championship is what put that title in the grave. When he held that belt, I was like,
and who should be holding? Well, not this version, the new version. Who should really be holding the belt right now? Who has the biggest social media presence in TNA right now?
Say his name and he'll appear. Say his name.
They should have strapped this onto him, and guess what? Every time he's topping another chart, that's why I believe this is just another belt. It's not even the other belt. Yes. But
hear me out. You could throw that title on Joe Hendry. You could throw that title on AJ Francis right now. They got a little beef going on. Both of them could easily elevate that title on social media because they have great social media presence.
I think you just booked their next 6 months because look what AJ Francis did post WWE. He was never not on social media. Imagine him in a video with this belt. Imagine Joe Hendry going somewhere and saying say his name, and he appears on any show and he shows up with the belt around his waist. But you got to go to X to watch Speed.
Gotta go to X.
So one of the main things I wanted to really, really, really dive into today, and I love belts. Everybody can tell that, right? I love belts.
I don't think they know. I don't think they know if you like them or not.
I'm gonna just say this. Sometimes some belts aren't needed, right?
Okay.
And when you think about right belt, wrong time, and when you bring it back, it's still the wrong time. So there's been one belt with one company that keeps coming back. And it came, first time it debuted, I said, I don't get it. Because I'm a stupid wrestling fan. I shouldn't have to say, what are the rules? Oh, why is that not happening? When I've been conditioned to a different set of rules. Everybody knows with a hardcore championship, anything goes. Everybody knows with a ladder match, you got to climb. Cage match, you got that. But when it comes to this belt, oops, I should not have to have notes like Dwayne to say, what's the rules of this? What happens here? What is, and when this first debuted, I was like, first off, it looks like every other belt. Second, why? Third, what are the rules? So, with my rant about that, this is what I want to hear from you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Should this belt have stayed gone?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because let's be honest, was it an upgrade or was it just a resurgence of? Because look at the difference. Let's call it what it is. It just says pure. There's nothing world title remembrance of it. There's nothing to make me say this is more important. I'm that champion. If somebody just stood there and it was the pure champion, the tag champs, and the world champion all standing next to each other, you'd be like, okay, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. This is a better looking belt, but who missed this belt? Who asked for it to come back?
Nobody. Let's be real here. This was a case of, and I'm sure the AEW fans are going to find me and bully me on social media for saying this, but that title was only brought back because Tony Khan paid for Ring of Honor. He got all the championships, and he's got a over bloated roster of talent that he doesn't know what to do with. So he sends him to Ring of Honor and he straps him up with a Ring of Honor belt. And then he says, oh, wait, I forgot about them. Come on back to AEW programming with that Ring of Honor championship, thus devaluing those titles even more. Pure championship makes no sense in this current dichotomy of AEW wrestling, especially since like the feeling of what Ring of Honor was doesn't exist anymore. Ring of Honor, guys, I'm sorry to tell you, if you're a Ring of Honor fan, Ring of Honor is effectively dead. Besides what you see now, you have Ring of Honor now, but the nostalgic Ring of Honor that you remember, that you clamor for when you think about it, that's long gone. What you have now is essentially AEW developmental for Ring of Honor. And I think Tony Khan, if he was a smart businessman, he would transition Ring of Honor into the NXT for AEW. The Pure Championship title, basic ass design, confusing ass rules, but we can't say that because WWE kind of bit that style with the Heritage Cup. Very similar British UK rules. You have the time. There's a little bit different because it's like more UK based. Pure title, confusing.
So I'm glad you brought up the Heritage Cup because that's such a unique thing. And I had the same feelings about that. I shouldn't have to figure out what are the rules of this match.
It's confusing. Both of them are confusing.
And it's crazy because I feel like it takes away from the wrestling. And when it comes to the Pure Championship, when Jonathan Gresham brought it back, he was trying to do something different, something gritty, trying to put Ring of Honor back to the uniqueness. But I feel like it was never unique with this title because ROH is remembered for the tag division. It
Yeah.
was remembered for the World Television Champion.
Championship.
It was remembered for the World Champion. Those indie darlings rising to the top. Those people that never was world champion, like Christopher Daniels, now becoming world champion. Those people who bet on themselves and did things like a Cody Rhodes, like a
Brian Daniel.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like all of these people are breaking out in the business that's rising to the top. A Nigel McGuinness, a Seth Rollins, I'm sorry, Tyler Black, a CM Punk, you know, all of these people that's like, yep, I've done it. Kevin Steen, you know what I mean? Like, oh, look what I've done. I am the man. But then the tag division, it was like, Pure Champion was like, oh, by the way, go wrestle this match.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I got a surprise question for you. And I know I said this earlier.
Okay.
Can you tell me who the Pure Champion is?
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God, dude.
That's my point with the belt. In the comments, if anybody can tell me without Googling who's the Pure Champion.
Well, I remember Danny G had it for a stretch. I know Danny G was for a stretch there. Danny G then dropped the title. I could have swore Shibata was Pure Champion for a stretch, but I don't think he's Pure Champion anymore. Don't tell me. Is one of Maria's boys the Ring of Honor Pure Champion?
No, they were the tag belt champs, remember?
Oh,
The
no,
Undisputed
like
Kingdom.
Maria's new boys.
Oh, those guys. I forgot.
Maria's whole, MILF training academy she's got going on.
So, Prototype was right. It is Yuta. It's Yuta. Well, Yuta.
Wheeler Yuta's the Pure Champion right now? But he's out
I don't
with
remember.
a long-term injury.
See my point? This belt should have stayed gone. It should have stayed gone. Like, it was not. Don't get me wrong. When Will Yuta won it the first time, it was like, just getting going with the Blackpool Combat Club. He was a standout breakout star. Then he lost to Daniel Garcia, won it back. I was like, so what was the purpose of this? Like, it's the belt. So, enough about that, because I think we said our piece about this part of history. This is one of those belts that right belt, wrong time. Nope. Wrong belt, wrong time.
Wrong time.
This is definitely the wrong. I don't think this belt will ever have a place with the casual wrestling fan. I don't know if it will ever have a place for the pure wrestling fan.
I mean, when you have a match where it's each wrestler has 3 rope breaks to stop submission holds. After a wrestler exhausts his rope break, submission attempts are considered legal. You can't basically use a rope break. No closed fists. You get a warning, a disqualification, and then if it comes down to it, it's decided by a panel of 3 judges. What? Next. Thank you. Next.
That's why I said, if you got to explain the rules to me, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to see it. If I got to sit there and figure out, what are we doing? How is this happening? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it takes away from it. So before we get to, as Dwayne would call it, the main event of the show, because there's a twist. As you can tell, we've been talking about right belt, wrong time, right? We said the speed belt, the right time, right?
Yeah.
But it's a funny looking belt, so we're going to just say, it should have been here when Zack Ryder did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pure title. Right belt, just period, the wrong time. It looks nice, the second version. First version looks just like the other one. If you like the first version, it's there. Cruiserweight title, right belt, wrong era. We clearly think that should be with Triple H, right?
Right now.
But I'm going to give you this twist. And this is for those people in the comments. And I want to know if you agree or disagree. In 2012, we saw an NXT Championship debut, right? Seth Rollins was the first champion. We saw it go from like Seth, Big Martin. Don't take this as trivia. I'm just going to say it. Seth, Big E, Bo Dallas, Neville, Sammy, Kevin. Kevin
Finn.
Lost it to Finn.
Samoa Joe.
Shinsuke. Samoa Joe, Shinsuke, Bobby Roode, Drew,
Andrade.
Andrade. Um,
No, Black didn't hold
no,
it. Black didn't hold it.
no, Andrade lost it to Johnny Gargano.
Johnny Gargano, Ciampa.
No, he didn't lose it to Johnny Gargano. He lost it to Black. He did. He lost to Aleister Black because he was the 13th.
Oh, Aleister Black
Remember,
did. That's right. He did have the title.
Remember, he was the
Right,
13th person to hold it. It was Aleister Black. Then, was it after Aleister? Did he lose it to Ciampa? I wanted to see how far I can go.
I think it was.
And just bear with me.
Ciampa.
And I know somebody will fact check me. So I'm saying also to say we had all of these who's who, great mixture of those indie darlings, great mixture of the NXT homegrown talent, great mixture of wrestlers to come forth, right?
Yeah.
Now, so apparently we were talking about black and gold too much because we just saw something about black and gold and chair shots. All right. What I was trying to say was I hope the super producer comes in and takes part of this conversation because he knows where I'm going with this. We had all these people from 2012, and it took all the way until Aleister Black. Oh, he said Aleister Black, Ciampa,
Cole, Johnny.
No, before we got to Cole, because remember, Adam Cole did what before he became champion? He was the first ever North American champion.
Oh, that's right.
So look how many people we went through just to get a secondary title in NXT. Now, remember I said I got a monkey wrench for you, right?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I guess so. I have
You're
no
not
choice.
ready. So we can agree this is the right belt, right? But was it the wrong time to debut this NXT North American title that far into NXT?
Ooh, I don't like when Brandon makes me think. So,
because we listed all of those champions, right? And before you answer, I want you to think about this. What has the Intercontinental or the US belt done to those who become world champion? We get to see more of their body of work and get behind them. So when they become champion, it's more fulfilling. Sure. We had to go through all of those champions. Those people come into WWE. Those people return into WWE. We went through all of that history just to get Adam Cole, arguably one of the better stars of ROH, one of the biggest signing of NXT, arguably probably the best guy at that time to jump to NXT and became the first ever North American champion. Was that the wrong time?
I
think I broke him.
You broke me a little bit because I don't think it was the wrong time. I think at that point right there, that time frame you're mentioning, NXT was hotter, in my opinion, than the main roster. I would watch NXT before I'd watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw weekly. I was not watching Raw. I was into SmackDown because 2016 SmackDown was special. Outside of the chinless James Ellsworth storyline.
That was the face that run the play. Hugh, come on screen because you're not getting away from this because he's sitting there marinating too. He tried like, oh
he's
man,
like trying to see what I'm about to say. He's gonna hit me with another curveball. The championship culture boys, they really like throwing curveballs at me. They like to see how if I'm on my toes or not.
And why you doing that? I'm gonna just rest the belt right here so you can
right
get your thoughts.
Shoulder of yours. And I think that's a gorgeous belt. 1, 2. I think NXT was so hot. It was red hot. 100%. It was the right time for a mid-card championship because at that time, Triple H was really leveling NXT to be a third brand. And that's when he who shall not be named saw how popular NXT was getting. It was like, no, I can't have my son-in-law outshine my product. So I'm going to start taking his talent, changing their names, changing their gimmicks, and I'm going to ruin them on the main roster and completely destroy the lineage that you've created with these titles, Triple H. I think that belt, right time, right place, right person to hold it first, elevated a lot of different of those guys in NXT because, look what it did for Dirty Dominic, right? This is a recency bias act, but Dirty Dom got a taste of championship gold with that very North American championship. Brandon is beautifully panning across the screen like he was doing his best Vanna White impersonation here. We talked about the Wheel of Fortune belt earlier. We're past that segment, folks. Sorry. But that title helped Dominic Mysterio gain even additional heel heat and kind of gave him a little taste of having some gold. That title did great things for the side plate that you had on that belt, Keith Lee. Keith Lee won both of those titles at the same time, which I thought was a momentous occasion. It almost was going to be the next big thing for Velveteen Dream there for a bit. I think that title was the right time, the right place, and it had the right champions hold it at the right time. So I'm going to disagree with you.
So I'm a Hugh, get on screen because you're not getting away from this. I'm ask this because this is how I'm gonna sway your conversation.
Okay.
Let me take you back to the Kevin Owens reign, right? Remember, he went on Raw to challenge John Cena. He was the NXT champion going against the WWE US champion, right?
Yep.
The NXT champion felt like a big deal, right? More people were shifting down. Why not debut the belt at that time? Because look at your roster at that time. This could have stopped a lot of people from getting pulled with nothing to do. Imagine a Baron Corbin with the North American title. Got called up, nothing to do. Imagine, now you're thinking about it, right?
I'm thinking about it. I'm just trying to think.
Imagine Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews could have had something to do.
Good name. That's that man. I feel bad for that man.
No, I'm just giving you an example. Somebody like
no, agreed.
Mixing up the 205 Live crews at the time when they were shifting them around to NXT. Yeah, we got the cruiserweight title, but give them something else to do. Imagine if a Santos Escobar had this before the cruiserweight title, or in lieu of the cruiserweight title.
Okay, I see your.
Imagine Andrade and Aleister Black having a feud for this, and then that translates over to the world title. Imagine Johnny Gargano and that caused them. This would have been his first singles title outside of their feud, and then the feud for the world title. Because we've seen it before where teams split, they get the secondary title, or we've seen it where they have a feud for this title and then move to the world title.
Sure.
Do you still think it was the right time with Adam Cole? Now, granted, look how much legacy it's had and lineage it's had since its inception. Imagine having a Finn Balor hold his belt on his second run down. It gives you United States feel of WCW when the former world champions would go back to the United States title. It gives you a big fight feel where Rey Mysterio would get the Intercontinental title. Oh, wow, look what he's done. You get what I'm saying? That's another name. It's another check in the box for him. Because we went from Adam Cole to Ricochet to Gargano. Then it flip-flopped 746 times. I feel like it kept flip-flopping. Then it was like you said, Velveteen. It had Roderick Strong. But then it started to heat up again when people like Wesley got a hold of it. Who to me is one of my favorite NXT North American champions. But it also became a staple. Solo had it to take a picture. Let's call it what it is. What you call it? Unified the titles. He unified this to the Cruiserweight title. Why he had this? Carmelo. So you still think it's the right time when Adam Cole ladder match?
Yeah, you see, I mean, the argument is that you're missing. The belt came in at the wrong time by 2 years late. That's basically the argument. So you're saying this belt should have came into existence in 2016, 2017 rather than 2018. That's the whole argument, essentially. I mean, yeah, I could see that. I mean, a day late and a dollar short, right? On certain things. I'm not too inclined to feel that. You still haven't convinced me, because when looking at the lineage, the names you listed, all of them, if not most of them, have gone on to do big things. Even the ones that aren't with the company anymore. You know, Swerve held that title for a little bit for some days. He's no longer with WWE, but now he's a world champion. Hayes did, in fact, combine the cruiserweight and the North American Championship. But I agree to your sentiment. Wesley will go down as, right now, until things change, he'll go down as the best NXT North American champion, in my personal opinion. So I agree with you in that regard. Adam Cole, though, and I see a lot of the comments popping up, and I know, we talk a lot about what Undisputed Era was at that time. You can't ask for a better first champion than Adam Cole, baby. And Undisputed Era, it's still, it's like people still talk about Undisputed Era, and it's 2024. They're like, oh man, I miss the Undisputed Era running NXT, man. I wish we could go back in time. Like, you still got people clamoring for it. So I don't know, man. This is like kind of what came first, the chicken or the egg type of situation here. Because like, you missed it by a year or two. You could argue, yeah, a guy like Kevin Owens, a guy like Finn, a guy like Shinsuke could have held that championship. But at the same time, I mean, I think
it didn't hurt him being only world champion, because, and the reason I'm gonna give you this bug. What belt do you remember in New Japan Shinsuke holding? And be honest, which belt do you automatically associate Shinsuke with?
The Intercontinental, the IWGP. Yeah.
Which belt do you associate Andrade with when he was El Sombra in, New Japan?
Yeah, I see what you're doing here. Bud.
I agree. It's the right belt. It was the right time for Adam Cole to be the champion. I'm not disputing that, because
disputing the time.
I'm just saying, if it would have had, so the prototype said Adam Cole and Undisputed Era from 17 to 20 was the perfect. It was. They could do no wrong. Roderick Strong, workhorse, the Dean Malenko of the modern era, in my opinion, because the man just wrestles. Absolutely. He just wrestles. Like, I don't care what he might say. I'm still going to compare him to Dean Malenko, because in Dean Malenko's day, he just wrestled.
Honestly, that's a hell of a comparison, Brandon. I've never heard anybody make that comparison before besides you, so that's a great comparison.
Because he just and it's, you go into, like, we look forward to Dean Malenko's matches because of his last match. You know what I mean? So Roderick, he always, to me, he delivers. When he has a match, I'm like, that was a decent match. Sucks he didn't have a build-up, but it's a decent match. You're like, oh, okay, Roderick Strong, okay. And I'm just saying, like, he just wrestles. And Keith says, well, I agree with you. I think WWE striking while the iron was red hot with Cole was a great timing. That ladder match was undeniable. One of the best ladder matches I had seen in WWE in a long time. And then Justice says, you make a good point, but still think that the North American title was perfectly timed. And plus, it was a takeover in New Orleans. Let me keep. Oh, okay. All right, we're going to leave it alone. He said, let me keep that moment.
Let this man have his moment.
Team champion at War Games. One of my first off, they made War Games make me pay attention to War Games, because every time I think about War Games, I just WCW.
Yeah, NXT.
That's all. Now I think about NXT, but I will say this about the North American belt. I'm glad it's here. I'm glad the women are getting one. I'm glad the women have a secondary title. I'm so happy that they decided to attach it to, I don't want to say this lineage, but instead of giving it the Women's Intercontinental, the Women's US, which I don't think we're too far off from that, but I'm glad that we are getting a Women's North American champion. I hope that she is not just limited to just NXT. And I'm going to just leave it at that. I just hope. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I need that Lash legend Trick Williams championship power
both
couple.
holding the belts.
Oh my
And
god.
this, I didn't think I would. You know what? And because of the unique strap, I'm glad it looks like they did it just like they do the men's belt. I mean, with the current belts now, they just made it smaller. It
Yeah,
looks like it still has the wider strap. It still looks like it has the same details on a white strap.
it's nice.
And who knew that silver and gold on a brown strap will look good? But
Is that brown or maroon?
it's
I
brown.
always
It's
I
actually
thought that was maroon.
no, it's actually
It's
brown. But
brown. It's brown.
I don't know if you can tell. Like
Yeah, it is brown.
the backing is black, but it's brown. Just like
Okay.
I had to tell Dwayne he didn't realize that the NXT Cruiserweight title when they changed it was actually just a darker purple and
Yeah, it
not
was,
black.
right?
You don't have nothing to say about the North American belt. He looks like he's so entertained. Now he's smiling. But generally we get to this part of the show where I usually say everybody has a story and let's hear yours. But we're gonna do things a little different because we have Mike here, right? And this is where we're going to clip things off of social media and blast in your face all week on social media. Post this show. So you already said what belt came at the wrong time was the 24/7 championship,
I
right?
think so.
What belt, and this is for the people in the comments too, what belt would you bring back?
Ooh. Right top of my head, I hate to say it, I would bring back the Hardcore Championship one. Yeah. I know I like the 24/7, but I bring the Hardcore Championship back just for. Can I curse on Championship colors? Am I allowed to do that?
We'll just bleep you out as you said.
All right. Just for the giggles. I would bring back the Hardcore Championship. The European Championship is the other one. Prototype. You stole it right out of my head. Get out of my head, man. You're up here. Get out of here. The European Championship. Look at all that European excellence you got in WWE right now. You mean to tell me we couldn't have a European Championship right now?
I'm going to throw a curveball for you. What if they bring the European title back for the women? That's their other mid card. So that way they can float between Raw and SmackDown.
I'll let that cook. I'll be grateful, dude. I'd love that. I think that'd be fire.
Because just as many men they have, look at the women roster too.
You're right. There are a lot of European women on the roster. There's a lot of gals from across the pond.
Why not let that be the women's mid card belt?
That's fire. That's genius.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. And watch 2 weeks from now, WWE be like, "Oh, we're bringing back the European title
The European
just
for the women." At least that they know you're listed. At least we know they're listening.
Like, thanks,
watching.
I'll just take tickets to the shows from now on. I'll just get in for free. 2 tickets, please. Thanks.
I would like to be the new green shirt guy. Thank you very much. When his lease expires, when his lease expires with WWE or whatever he's got going on the seats, let me take over that lease, Triple H. Let me be I'll get a green shirt. Don't worry, I got you.
What color you want me to wear? I got you. Whatever color.
Whatever color.
So actually, we're gonna have some fun with this question. I'm going to give you the company, and you tell me what belt you would get rid of, because it's got to be the wrong time for a belt. Are you ready?
Okay.
WWE, which belt would you get rid of?
Right now, I'm getting rid of the Speed Championship just because I don't think it's gonna last. It's as quick as it came. It's leaving just as fast. That's speed.
So I'm gonna say specifically, AEW, not ROH, just AEW. What belt would you get rid of?
I'm getting rid of the Continental Championship. What's the point?
Really? Not the TNT?
Nah, keeping the TNT. I like the TNT. Copa's going to rebuild that just like Christian did. The Continental sounds too similar to the International, and they're basically the same freaking championship. The International, the Continental, the Transatlantic Continental Champion over here in AEW. Get rid of it.
Okay. So ROH. We know that you would get rid of the Pure.
Get rid of the Pure. Get rid of it.
New Japan. I'm sorry, IWGP, because we're going to talk about New Japan Strong separately. So let's start with
Okay.
New Japan. So let's just say IWGP. Which one would you get rid of?
Oh man. Probably the US title.
That's already gone.
Probably. Oh, they already got rid of it?
Yeah, remember that was the one that got destroyed. That's where the Global came from.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that would have been my pick.
All right, so how about New Japan Strong isn't fair because they only got the 3. So let's go over to TNA. Which belt would you get rid of, and why would it be the Digital Media Championship?
Yeah, it's got to be the Digital Media Championship because they're not even effectively using it on social media.
All right, 2 more. MLW.
Ooh, I'm not too familiar with MLW's titles, to be honest with you. I'll be transparent with you. Let me take.
All right, well, let's trade that one for NWA. Dennis is going to kill you whichever one you say. So tread lightly because you know he loves NWA.
So NWA current championships.
Mm-hmm. He's Googling it.
I'm Googling it. Yeah. It's dude. After I saw that whole thing that they were doing like some stupid stuff with the one storyline, I kind of just stopped taking them serious.
Mm-hmm. When they made the extra tag belts, I was like, why?
Yeah,
and I'm waiting for this to explain this to me because I was like, why do they have so many sets of? But
yeah, I don't think you need the World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Is that still a thing?
I believe so. Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong. That's still a thing, right?
World Junior Championship. I mean, but
they have a lot of belts. They have a lot of belts.
Way too many belts. Wait a minute. They have almost as many belts as AEW has.
Yep. I was waiting for you to see that.
What the heck?
Go ahead, Dennis.
I don't
defend
keep
them
up with NWA. I don't keep up with NWA.
Dennis going to defend them in the comments because you know he loves NWA. And last but not least, of all the indies that you've been to, can you think of any belt that you would get rid of?
Oh man, any belt I would get rid of from the indies? Dude, I've seen some really silly belts out there. Honestly, I was trying to think of GCW, but I think GCW kind of has their belts kind of on lock. Like they actually have a good set of titles for their roster. So I don't think anything from GCW. If I were to get rid of, honestly, I'd get rid of. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank, dude. See, this is what happens. You put me on the spot and you ask me a million different questions because now everything's meshing into one massive question. I'll be honest. If I were to get rid of anything, I would probably get rid of the strong open weight tag team championships with New Japan, just because I mean, like, I feel like that's redundant. I feel like they already have like 3 different sets of tag titles. They have 3. They have the Super Junior tag titles. They have the regular tag titles. And then you have the
6-man.
I'd say get rid of those. Also, AEW, I think you can get rid of the trios championships. You've effectively destroyed any chance of having a viable trios division as well. I find nothing entertaining about those titles. I don't think they're doing anything for any talent either. Would you say the same or?
Well, Nick Ram will agree with you because he hates 6-man belts and he actually put them in a bad light in my mind. But I will say this about 6-man belts. I'm glad they combined them. I'm glad they combined the ROH and the AEW. Now they just look silly carrying 3 belts apiece around.
Yeah, I hope they
just make one new set and just call them a 6-man. Yeah, so it's actually pretty bad. In my opinion, there are so many belts in AEW, but I think a lot of theirs are the right belt, the wrong time. But that's all I'm gonna say about that because I don't want to go on a rant about AEW because there are some belts that, well, I think that's it. What you think? I think we talked about right belt, wrong time, wrong belt, right.
Is rocking for the arrival of main event Jey Uso. Come on, Corey, let me do it too. I think.
Where did that even come from?
Here he is.
Where did that even come from?
Hey,
And he's muted because he's laughing. Ladies and gentlemen, the super producer has started his live stream, but he's giggling.
Yep.
He's literally giggling. That's why he had to mute it.
Always.
Oh, gosh.
I just came on because I had to show my beautiful face, number one, and I have to say that every belt has a story. And Mike, loving the chest hair, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think there's more chest than shirt at this point.
Yes, sir.
For anybody not watching and might be listening, Mike from Off and Off with Mike, who's full-blooded Italian, is that fair to say?
Yeah, full-blooded, dude.
He's showing why he's full-blooded Italian. He has a whole chest full of hair and like 20% shirt, but it's okay because it's. I didn't expect this, but when he comes
it's
around,
it's a hot girl summer. What's up?
Hey, I'm with it.
The fact, and what is that on your shirt? Is that roses?
That's roses, baby. I'm smelling like roses. What's up?
Oh, he's smooth, bro.
You gonna go get that shirt tomorrow? You gonna have that shirt on for the show?
Yep.
Definitely. Oh, look who joined us. Willie Wood is in the building, everybody. It's Willie Wood. So, Mike, he wasn't. Drew Willingham filled in for the flagship show on Wednesday night on youtube.com/WrestlingRealm on WrestlingRealm Now podcast, and he took the spot of Hollywood, Brian H. Waters, and it was funny because I said, "Oh, we got Willie Wood." So every time we see him, Willie Wood has the most beautiful, long, flowing soccer mom hair that you've ever seen.
He does.
He really does.
Styles?
It's beautiful. It's much better than AJ's.
Yeah.
When you see it, Joe's. You know how Dolph Ziggler had that, what they call it, a blowout, and he had that little sexy picture that he posted?
Mm-hmm.
That was inspired by Drew's hair. That's all I'm going to say.
It
was definitely inspired.
Yes, he does.
How do you feel in a certain type of way?
Yeah. I don't ever want him to post a picture of his hair like that again because it makes people with no hair like me jealous. People with no hair. And by the way, if you're free next Monday, we will be on Drew Willingham's show.
In and Out Sports Debate.
Yeah, baby. Why do you keep wanting to put me on the sports show and I know this much about sports?
Because it's fun. What you mean?
I gave you my analogy about a sport and I made him think. And it was actually pretty funny. So I can't wait till Monday to throw it out there.
I'm going to be tuning in to see Brandon try to get thrown in the deep end and talk a little sports. I need to hear this. Drew, make sure you ask him hard-hitting questions. Make sure you ask him how he feels about Caleb Williams going to Chicago, and make sure you ask him about the current state of MLB, please.
So listen here, Drew. When I go to the when I let me shut up because I'm gonna embarrass myself. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you are.
I am. Drew actually changed the show completely for me to not have anything about sports one time. I felt around it. I said, "Oh, look at that, no sports talk," because I was gonna Google everything and I was gonna be like, "Yeah," because in 1996 when this happened, I would be like, "Hollywood, just be in my ear." So you can tell me what to say. The look on his face when I asked him hardcore. Oh, did you see? Oh, look what he said. Mm-hmm. He'll have that same look on his face when yes, I will. Because this is my face. Like,
yep. All the time.
Oh boy. So of course the comments waking up when Drew come in. So he missed all the shenanigans with the prototype and Dennis and where's Keith? Keith, you still there? I hope Keith is still there. We like Keith. Keith's going to have to become an honorary member of Championship Culture, too.
Yeah.
We like Keith.
No, we love Keith.
Yeah, we do. And he tried to, before we go away, because he had this belt in the background the whole time, trying to act like nobody was going to see. You saw it too, right?
I see it.
And he was, you see it? It wasn't there before, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every belt has a story. What's the story behind that one?
What's the story about the United States Championship?
Yeah, where did that come from?
The story? And well, as you can see, got the Yankees side plates. Shout out to the Yankees. You know how we do in this household. So what's the story here? Well, obviously, let me go ahead and take Pharaoh out of there. We're safeguarding it for Cody Rhodes when he wins the United States Championship against off of Logan Paul. So the story behind this United States Championship, ladies and gentlemen, was a gift, and this is gonna blow your minds. So I had a good brother. I used to work with him. We still talk here and there. It's, he's been busy. I've been busy. But my buddy Zach found out I was a wrestling fan. He was like, "You're a big wrestling fan." I was like, "Hell yeah, dude. I love wrestling." He's like, "I love wrestling too." He showed me all his titles. spinner belt and the big gold, and he had the Edge rated R spinner. He had all these championships, just kind of similar to Brandon, not nearly as many as Brandon. And one day he hits me up and he goes, "Hey man, every wrestling fan should have a belt. Pick a belt off WWE Shop, and I'm buying it for you."
Oh.
I'm like, oh, okay. I've never had a friend like this before in my life, so I'm like, I hope I don't have to, make some things happen on the flip side. There's no favors coming down later on.
He had done button one more button.
Yeah. I have to unbutton one more button or something. But no, dude, he bought me this championship and I paid him back. I took him to a wrestling show, kind of the least I could do. But shout out to my man, Zach. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have this beautiful United States championship. And this is the one that means the most to me because someone went out of their way and said, "Hey, I like you as a person. You're a good friend to me, and I want to hook you up, and I want to give you your first championship." And that's why I did the same for our good brother, Keith. Now, if I'm going to kind of blow the secret here, ladies and gentlemen, I know Keith. And Keith is one of my best friends from high school, even early on. And I gifted him his first championship, which was the NXT Tag Team Championship. So me and him are the tag team champions. And I try to pass it on through Zach's message for this title. So a little long-winded, I'm sorry, but it's a good story.
No, perfect. It's because what we say you. What's the catchphrase?
I'll get to that, but
okay.
I like everything about it, but the Yankee side, please.
I was trying to avoid them from saying it. You see
yeah. No, we need some black and orange on there. Put some black and orange.
Can you show Hugh the tip?
Yeah, I can show him just the tip. You want
just the tip, buddy?
He just needs the tip. The king of the tips. He needs to see the tip.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How does the tip feel, Mike?
You stupid.
Real stiff, real firm, real good tip. Real good. Good tip. Good tip action.
Has a lot of girth to it.
A lot of meat. A lot of meat on that tip.
These are going to be Dwayne's notes. He's going to say no more tip on Jimmy.
King of the tips, baby.
No, and I remember you telling us the story with Keith and the tag team belts. That's why I was like, wait a minute. Where did that championship go? Because you definitely didn't tell us that story. But this is why we do the things we do, because of things like that. Because every wrestling fan should have a belt. And as we know from Big Go versus the World, somebody won a belt. I'm surprised you pop in the comments tonight. Congratulations to Marcus from Four Sides of the Ring.
He hasn't even posted it on social media. I haven't even seen a picture of him with that championship.
I've seen it.
Have you?
Oh yeah, he said this. Yeah, you gotta get on him for not.
I want my Shawn Michaels picture. He never got down and dirty and started stripping for that title.
Right.
like Hughes Photoshop. Well, not Photoshop.
It wasn't Photoshop. That was real. What you mean?
Wait a minute, did he? I'm looking to see if he posted it on here.
That was real.
That's real, baby. What you talking about? That's real.
Oh, he didn't post it on Instagram. Where did he post it? I thought he posted the picture.
I think it was in his stories. Was it his stories?
Was it on his personal page?
It might have been on his personal page, bro.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. I know we got some theater going, but maybe it was on his. It's Marcus is on. Why are you laughing? This is why we can. This is why we can't have nice things. What did Keith say?
He said, "Throw up the pic."
Oh, because that's the one Martin jumped in on. He was like, "What the heck did I just come into?" Martin was so confused. He didn't post it.
He hasn't posted it.
I beg to differ. Those colors do match.
Which colors? Oh, y'all arguing about the belt. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here now is Keith agreeing with Hugh, and he's trying to entice Hugh to post his X-rated picture of him with the belt.
I already did.
Did you?
Yeah.
You threw it up there? Okay, I was looking for Marcus's picture with his belt that he won from those championship culture boys from.
I haven't seen a celebratory championship photo shoot. I haven't seen the baby wrapped up in the belt yet. I haven't seen anything. Marcus, chop, brother.
Sounds like. I mean, it was his birthday weekend, so I mean.
True.
Maybe
happy birthday. Happy birthday to you as well, my man.
Thank you, bro. Yes, sir.
The good brothers having birthdays, man. You guys,
Yes, sir.
Getting old and
May
stuff.
babies.
Right.
That's what it is. Tell them getting old and stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we're getting old. I was
And-
staring in the mirror today. I had some gray hairs. I was feeling old.
Man. I'm rubbing my knees right now. Boy.
But well, before we close out, you know somebody else got a belt. So all these people joining the Belt Club. Did y'all see who else joined the Belt Club?
I did see who joined the belt club today.
Uh-huh.
He got himself a hell of a deal on this belt.
Yeah.
Martin
Yeah.
from four sides of the ring didn't actually steal it, disclaimer, stole this for a couple Funko Pops and a handshake.
Oh,
Pretty
And
much.
He got himself a gorgeous TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
With signatures. Don't forget
With
the
sig-
signatures.
The only
He got
downside
signatures.
was it Kurt Angle. If it is Kurt Angle's real signature, that man signed it on the plate.
Oh, I forgot
Yeah.
to check because he asked me to check if that was actual Kurt Angle's signature because I have one.
Oh, you
So
have a Kurt
Martin,
Angle?
yeah, no, he did. So I don't know if that's Kurt Angle's signature because the picture he sent. This is what. Well, I don't know when Kurt Angle would have signed it, but this is his signature from. Ooh.
I know the Hardy Boys signatures looked pretty legit because I have Hardy Boys autograph and the Jeff Hardy artwork looked pretty spot on.
yeah.
So
Yeah, you can't deny their their autographs, but I cannot find.
the Kurt one looks a little sus.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know, but you could have just signed it very small because
No rush.
I had somebody else sign the front of a belt before, and I was like, that was a.
That was
Let me
weird.
shut up.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
a
it was definitely
wrestler?
weird.
Really? I figure they know better than that to sign on the plate.
Yeah, I've had somebody do that too, and it was insane because I'm like, why would you sign there? And it was like you're trying to hurry up and just get me out of the way, and I was like, yep,
What belt
you
was
should
that?
never meet you. You know which belt it is.
Uh-oh.
See, he knows the story.
Yeah.
Because every belt has a story.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be
Story.
every belt.
Every belt.
I can't find his picture. Where did he send it to?
I don't know. I
Because
saw
then
it.
I want to embarrass him because he sent it.
Oh,
We'll find it.
Marcus, yeah, with the belt. I don't know where he said that. Marcus, if you're watching, please text us and let us know where that picture is because it's going to kill us. So, our brother Mike can see it. But Mike,
There's Martin.
there's
Martin's
Martin.
Yeah.
A little late to the party, but love you guys and belated birthday. Mr. H to the A to the S to the T to the H to the E to the 3 to the R to the D. You know that's the only way I can say it. Yeah, so Martin, where's that picture of your brother with his belt? And where's the pictures of you with the belt? We talked about you.
And I
But while
appreciate
yeah,
we
we're,
wait
talking,
for
we're
it.
putting you
Respond
over, brother.
This was the belt that
Yeah.
somebody signed.
Right
the
there on
front.
it. It's right there.
Oh shoot, sorry. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
Right.
that's frustrating. That's
Smack
frustrating.
dab in the middle.
I can't even read whose signature that is, so you're good.
Oh, just take a guess. So, okay, let me give you this clue. I get signatures of people who have significance with the belt and that are synonymous with the belt.
Don't tell me
So
that's
for-
Christopher Daniels. No?
Right? You're the right Christopher, but not Daniels.
Right.
Chris Bay?
Mm-mm.
He didn't hold that version.
All right, relax. Settle down.
Oh, you were being okay. Yeah, Chris Saban signed
I was
the
about to
front
say,
of that.
Saban.
first guy to have the new one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was like, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm shocked.
And then the other Motor City Machine Gun just signed the other one. Like
Oh, that's
you
that's
can't even
good.
tell us.
Yeah,
but-
that's. Huh? Is that a shooting star?
It looks like. Oh,
Yeah, that's,
okay.
that's a tough one.
But I wanted them to sign it in gold and not silver because this belt doesn't have much gold on it. So I figured the
Yeah.
gold signature, because gold on the black strap sometimes stands out more, like when
Yeah.
you saw the Kurt Angle one.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a silver belt, of course, like when Matt Hardy signed the ECW one, I had him sign it in silver because that made more sense. But overall, I try to keep gold on there because the gold paint markers
looks better.
Actually,
They pop a little bit more, yeah.
They definitely do. But I'm on a quest to try to get side plates for all my WWE belts for people that are relevant to me that hold the belt or had some kind of tie to it, and then signature. So like the Universal title I have in red has Finn Balor because he was the first one to hold it. Good one. Yeah, the blue Universal, even though people think I should have Roman, I have the Fiend because he was the one that turned it blue.
Absolutely.
The NXT UK, the very first one, the WWE NXT UK belt that says WWE on it, has Pete Dunne because he was the champion that held it for a while. Yeah. But I gotta get Walter side plates for the NXT one. You know what I mean? So I'm looking for Walter side plates, but I got The Rock for the one that he debuted with the champion at the bottom, the WWE championship.
Was that 2012? 2013?
14. Wasn't it? I think it was 14. I think it's the 2014. But I'm split between the WWE championship, whether to put, because I got both of them. I think I'm going to do one side Big E and one side Kofi.
Oh, you got to do that.
Because I think I'm going to do that.
One. I like that. So,
and the U.S. title, like yours, guess who? Let me see if you can guess with that logic. Who do I have?
I mean, I personally, I was thinking about my own logic here on that one. I think the rightful two signatures I would get on this belt would be Bobby Lashley and MVP.
But see, I got Apollo Crews.
Oh, that's a good one,
he
too.
Technically was the first holder of it.
He did hold that, yeah. Because didn't MVP unveil this with Lashley, right?
Yes. Yeah. But Apollo wound up because he was a champion. Yeah. And he was trying to take it from him, but Shinsuke is on my Intercontinental because he debuted that belt. That's a good one. Keith Lee because but it's funny. The only reason that somebody's on my NXT world title is because the side plates were clearance and they were a steal. So that's why that's there. So any other comments we need to address before we? Oh, Martin said Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory and Logan. Don't worry about Logan Paul side plates. Stop it. I just saw Haley comment. I just saw Haley comment and she waited. All right, so Martin, you missed the whole show about right belt, and I'm starting to cough, so that must mean we're coming to the close of this show, ladies and gentlemen. I think we set out to do what we need to do. Right belt, wrong time. There's a lot of belts that were debuted that might have been better in different eras. Any last thoughts, Mike?
I think we nailed it, man. I think we absolutely nailed it. I think we hit on a lot of these championships where it was the right belt, it was the wrong time, or it was the wrong belt at the right time, or it was the wrong belt at the wrong time, and it should have never became a thing, in fact, of that Ring of Honor Pure Championship. I think we nailed it. I think gives a lot of people some food for thought, so make sure you guys go to Wrestling Realm Championship Culture social medias. My social medias, if you want to argue with me, because you're just going to argue to a wall, because I don't do it. And tell me and them, tell the boys which belt you feel was in the wrong time at the wrong. Now I'm all confused. At the right belt at the wrong time. There it is. There it is.
Right. Belt in the wrong era. How about that?
That's easier. Belt in the wrong era.
Oh, look, of course he would say this. The John Cover 205 lost title perfect belt wrong company. Where should it have been? Where should it have been, Martin? We're gonna address that before we go. What company should that have been?
Please don't say.
If he says AEW, we're gonna end. We're just gonna go ahead and cut it to you. Because he's gonna throw something out there that's gonna make us say, well, you got a point.
Yep.
You know what? It probably should have been TNA. That would have fit. Well, no, you got the X Division that kind of.
No, X Division was solid. X Division is great. If WWE
figure out a
way to.
He said AEW. Ugh.
AEW rosters all under 205. Oh.
Where is you know who would appreciate? You know who would appreciate that? Dennis would appreciate a comment like that. Oh man, Martin. Oh, you're gonna have people saying that I hate AEW.
Yeah, we're getting labeled as AEW haters, bro.
So tell the people where they can find you, Mike. Let's see where they can find you.
You guys can find me at MOWM_podcast on social media, on YouTube at MOWM_wrestling podcast for all of your wrestling needs. I'm 2 subscribers away from 100, so if you guys want to go ahead and subscribe, hit me that 100 mark. That would be greatly appreciated. We're on the come up. Big things coming from Mouthing Off with Mike. You already know it.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't had a chance to check out Mike, please put that back up on the screen one time for me, Hugh. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this. Please just take 2 seconds. Go over to X. Go over to Instagram. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. I love getting his notifications. And he didn't even say he's on TikTok too. You will see a lot of shorts that will make you say, well, let me go find the real show. And you will go down a rabbit hole. Yep. This man's insight is like no others. His way that he delivers it, the way that his shows are structured, it will make you say, well, dang, that was a good point. Oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, so if you're looking for something to ponder, go over to X, MOWM_podcast, or just go to YouTube. I have to tell you what, when you go to X, you'll see his links for his other ones. So please give this man a like, follow, subscribe, tweet him, retweet him. I'm sorry, is it still called tweeting? I guess since we're
calling it tweeting. It's always Twitter, dude. I don't call it X. It's Twitter. It's always and forever Twitter.
Right. This man knows belts. He knows Funko Pops. He has a special connection, and
yes,
he has a lot of chest hair. A lot of chest hair. Martin, you missed all the chest hair. So
yo, Martin's throwing shots in the comments. So you better wrap this episode up before I start sending shots back.
No.
This guy over here said he's truly amazing, and he's just not a 3-count trivia champion yet. Well, let me tell you something here, Martin. If it wasn't for the hosts and the judges of 3-count trivia for not catching blatant and obvious cheating during my semifinal matchup, maybe we'd be having a different discussion here. Maybe we'd have a different discussion. So I'm putting the mirror back on you. Look at yourself. Check yourself.
Ooh, okay. Well, Dennis went over and subscribed, so hopefully by the end of this show, you will have 100. He said, got the taco meat out.
Listen, I mean, the only wrestling podcast that doesn't have an OnlyFans link yet.
Oh, yet. He said, yeah. Hugh, tell the people where they can find you, because I know they already know, but I know you want to say it.
Yes. Oh, you just want to.
I know you want to say. I just hear you say
it. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at HASTHE to the 3RD. Yes, sir. On all social media platforms and Championship Culture _ or IG, and the Championship Culture playlist on YouTube under the Wrestling Realm.
And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the close of the show today. And I will tell you this: tune in every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for Championship Culture. Next week, hit. We got a show for you. All I'm gonna say is, you might not want to miss it, because I think it's going to be insightful. I think it's going to be impactful. And I think it's going to be enriched with history. And I got an expert to help me talk about that, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And the one that's right beside Mike, huh?
Yeah, 6, at least 6 belts have a lineage that's, goes through them. So if you want to get the rest of the hits, follow us on all social media platforms. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 p.m. to Championship Culture. And if you're bored on a Wednesday, tune into the flagship show, the Wrestling Realm Now podcast at 10:30 p.m. But I'm Brandon the Guy. And remember, every belt has a story. Can't wait to hear yours.
That's right. Every belt has a story. Peace out, y'all.
Every belt has a story, baby.